Righty ho. So if we're ready all to start, I'll welcome you formally to this Vibrancy membership event. I'm Peter Holden. I'm a member of the 1285 membership team, and it's great to see you all today. If we go on to the next slide, what we've got planned today, this morning, we are going to be talking about the Rotary effect with District Governor Eric. Then, and that's today's very vibrant, waking you up, particularly those of you who were out last night, theme. This morning, we're going to talk about the Rotary effect with DG Eric. Then Phil Dyer will talk on vibrancy. Then the Toolbox with Sam Addison. Now, you'll find that for general use, your chat button is disabled. Final session will be questions and answers. So if you keep your questions and answers to then, that'll be a plenary session from all the speakers. So with no more ado, if I pass on to DG Eric.
Yeah, next slide, please. So welcome everyone to just a bit of setting the scene. Globally, we are now 1.4 million members. You may not recognise that figure because it used to be 1.2, but this 1.4 million Rotarians and Rotaractors, because we're counting everyone together, 46,000 clubs. So we're talking about positive change in communities, and to do that, we need to be vibrant and to attract some new members. So I want to talk about something that I've called the Rotary effect. I'll probably mention this at a few club meetings that I've been to, and just saying, if you're going to invite someone to come along and join your club or to join Rotary, it's not a great idea particularly to ask them to come along, join your club, pay a fee, which is always contentious, and then say, well, come and help with our projects. Why not turn that on their head? Why not find people locally in the community? We've got a small project or an idea or something they want to actually do, and then they actually offer to put the Rotary effect onto their project. Basically, if someone's got a small local project, Rotary can offer them quite a lot. We can boost their project using the power of Rotary. Now, that's not always writing them a check and giving them some funding, though that might be part of what we're trying to do. But we've got lots of experienced Rotarians. We've run lots of projects. We've got a business experience, and also actually got a Rotary experience, and we've organised some quite large projects. And we can share that expertise with someone locally who's got a small project in the community, doesn't quite know how to move that on a little bit. On that point, can you move the slide on for me, please? As well. So we will have a network of local contacts. Most of us know other local charities in town. We've got business contacts. A lot of people in Rotary are business people. We probably know the mayor. We probably know the local councillors. We probably deal with local youth groups who help us out on things like Santa floats. And they can all be brought into play to help someone who's got a small local project. We may be able to supply manpower for their project, either using ourselves or using other people. If the project is actually classed as Rotary, if they actually join Rotary and we sort of wrap around the Rotary effect for them, they've then got insurance for events, which would cost them a lot of money as a small charity. And getting even bigger, we'll have contacts outside of the local area, outside of the town. There'll be district contacts, national, even actually international, depending on what the project is. So we've got the Rotary network that we can help them to tap into to go large on their project. We've got a trusted brand. If the project's out there with a Rotary brand on it, the public will actually trust it more, and that will help. We'll be helping to publicise it. And going back to funding, there may well be access to funding from the club. There may be district grants all the way through to, the full thing, Foundation Global grants if the project meets the criteria. So we've got a lot to offer people. So I think rather than say to people, well, come and join our project, if they've got a project that you can wrap around, and they will also have other friends and contacts. So basically, you're bringing in not only one person into Rotary, but perhaps a group of people to come in. The same thing also applies to your own existing members. Have you thought about asking your own members to say, if you get any particular projects or local needs that we can work on? Because quite often we get into a rut of doing the same project. We did it last year, we're going to do it this year, but this is our 24th year of doing it. But you have to look for something new, talk to members, especially newer members, and just say, well, what is their passion? what contacts have they got locally, internationally, or whatever, and then try and apply the Rotary effect to those projects. It's a very powerful thing that we've got, Rotary. It's a very powerful tool we've got in Rotary. We can cover all sorts of different aspects of projects. And I think we don't actually publicise that. We don't use it as a way to kind of engage new people, or I think to make the club vibrant, and also to encourage the club members to look at new projects. So I just think something to look at and think about it, either for new people or for your existing members. So that's my Rotary effect. That's what I think we can do. And bits of it will work for some point, bits of it won't work for other projects. But I think, we need to look at all these things that we've got that we can do to help other people out. And the project will then become effectively a Rotary project, because it's all about projects. Being a vibrant club is all about running projects. But I'm sure Phil's going to cover a lot of that as he takes over next. So thank you very much. That's my section for the moment.
Welcome to this Vibrancy morning. Thank you to Eric. I will just skip the slide on now. There's a little set the tone. I'm a big believer in the word volunteer as a catalyst to membership. So here's a little poster that's been doing the rounds on social media. But this morning we are here to talk about vibrancy. And there's probably a lot in the room thinking that that's a newfangled word that Phil Dyer's come up with. And what's it all about? Well, the word vibrant and vibrant clubs has been in the Rotary International vocabulary for some years. In fact, we're going to be talking about a document later on about how to make your club vibrant. So let's kick off. Great to see so many here this morning, and thanks to Eric for setting the scene with some fundamentals there. So first of all, there is no magic wand. You've heard this from me before. There is no magic wand. The responsibility for membership is with us all, whether you like it or not. It's all our responsibilities. And to be brutally honest, we've probably been asleep at the wheel for several years now. I don't mean everyone. There are clearly clubs out there that are doing really well, but the pathway is not good. So we're going to start off with a little bit of an update from Rotary Great Britain and Ireland. It's not the greatest reading in the world, but it at least gives you a benchmark so we know where we're starting from. So here are the figures from the 1st of July this year, and this shows a membership decline of just short of 9,000 members in the last 6 years, 47,000 down to 38. But probably what's more worrying than that, if you look at that 6-year period, is the demographic here. So the red portion of that slide is the unreported age slice of the pie. And if you assume, and that's a big assumption, that those 25% of unreported ages are generally at the upper age limit of our organisation because they've been members for a long time, and the data maybe wasn't captured at the time of membership joining, coupled with the green and the yellow sectors, we have 73% of our organisation in the UK over the age of 70. And you look at that time slice of 8,000, 9,000 loss over 6 years, then you don't need to be a mathematician to see how quickly that decline is going to happen. And vibrancy is all about trying to stop that and make ourselves look a little bit more exciting to the outside world. I mean, there's some, yeah, in the age group 50 to 60, across the UK, there are only 7% of members between the ages of 50 and 60, and less than 4% across the whole patch for under 50s. So there is work to do. So let's kick off with my thoughts and the thoughts of the membership team with regard to vibrancy. So vibrancy is a state of mind. It's a condition of your mind, your club, and it's all about being more exciting and more energetic. We need to, we can, we can't, we will, we won't, we do, we don't. That's the difference between a successful club and one that is maybe static, one that could do a little bit more. So what is a vibrant club? Well, what do we see when we look at our club? What are we looking at? If you look at your club, being brutally honest, what do you see? And often there is a reality distortion field about what you see and what is actually there. And what I would ask yourself is, would you join your club? Now, I'm a club Rotarian of 12 years and I like my club in Prescott, but would I join it now? It's a tough call, and I just don't think I would. I think there's better things that I could be doing with my time. Now, I'm involved with Rotary elsewhere, and although I enjoy the fellowship of Prescott, you know, are we doing what we could do? Possibly not. So, is this what we see? When we look in the mirror, do we see something that's not there, or something that's grander than what is there? Are we the little pussycat and are looking at the majestic lion parading across the Serengeti? Often I think that's the case. But what sort of club do you want to be? Do you want to be the club that you are, or is there an aspiration for you to do something differently? Are you going to think a little bit more creatively about how you present yourself to your local community? And as I said, I'm not speaking to absolutely everyone in the room today. There are people out there that are doing really well, and their clubs are energetic and are vibrant, but we can always do better. So hopefully you'll pick up some nuggets as we go along. These days have gone. The days of a meet every week to have a meal have gone, and they've been forced upon us by COVID, because we have to think differently about how we bring about service in our communities. It is not all about just sitting down in a pub and having a chicken dinner and talking about what we did. As Eric alluded to, year after year after year, we need to think a little bit more creatively, and our communities have changed. So we need to be a little bit more flexible and agile. And it's not always, and this is a strange thing to say from a membership lead, it's not always about new members. It's about the engagement we get in the community and working with a volunteer body or a volunteer base that get excited or invigorated by working with Rotary. That's when the membership will come. And as Eric suggested earlier in his opening statements, it's about letting the community do the projects they want to do. We can be the catalyst. We are the global humanitarian organization with the branding, the resources, the connections to make projects happen. So we need to think slightly differently about how we do our Rotary. It's not about us bringing about a project and doing it. It may be engaging with the community and finding out what they want and allowing that project to happen. Flexibility is the key, and it's in my opinion, it's not always about the head count of membership. It's the engagement which brings about membership. So just moving on to our international president's mantra this year, which is each one bring one. Now, this is an old concept in Rotary, and historically we have grown by bringing a business contact or associate into Rotary. And over the last few years, that has not occurred. So I would ask you all to follow President Sheikh Mehta's mantra this year of each one bring one. if you could all bring one person, they're not all going to join. And it would be amazing if they did, but they're not all going to join. But it would be interesting to see that how that new person interacts with your club when you bring them along. So we're about halfway through the Rotary year. There's still plenty of time for you to have a think about who you could invite along to your club meeting. But as I said earlier, what sort of club do you want to be? Do you want to be the club that you are now? And if you are shall we say, coming out of COVID and wondering what to do, and you're a little bit slow to re-engage with your community, I think now is a perfect time for you to think about that. There's a quote that you'll all have seen from me before, but I think it's a really important and powerful quote. And there is only one thing in life about worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about. And imagine the communities that we operate in now, and people say, oh yeah, Prescott Rotary used to do that. What are they doing now? Oh, well, I don't think they're anymore. Or all of our clubs, we've done phenomenal work in our communities, both local communities and international communities. And if that ability to do that service wasn't there, we need to think now, and we need to think about a plan of moving forward with our Rotary clubs. You know, perhaps Prescott won't survive, but perhaps another club is born out of that geography, so it could carry on the good work that Prescott's done for the last 74 years. I'm picking on my own club because it's easier to do that than pick on other clubs there. So we need to decide what your club is going to be like in the next 3 to 5 years. We need to engage with our existing club members and ask them. We need to ask them what they want to do, because it's the members of the club in the locality that are the Rotary Club. And if you've not got the buy-in at the club level, then we haven't got, we need a plan to go forward. Because a goal without a plan is just a wish. And we all sat there and go, oh, wouldn't it be great if we had some new members and we'd be able to do this and we'd be able to do this, and no action occurs. So unless you write down a plan and detail, and we're going to come on to that later when Sam's going to explain a couple of documents that are available, there is a planning document that's available, and you maybe need to just sit down and think internally as a club, what do you want to do? And set a goal that you can achieve, even if it's only baby steps, because as it says there, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So we've all heard some of these before, but I'm going to reiterate it again. We can introduce creative formats for your club. Invariably, we are all e-clubs, or we have been over the last 20 months. And the hybrid model is a real possibility. If you get if you simplify the technology, and it can be done very, very simply, you can have a very effective hybrid meeting. You don't need to overcomplicate it, and you don't need to spend a fortune on IT equipment. Yes, a Zoom meeting may be appropriate from time to time, and meeting face-to-face with real-life fellowship is what we strive, I'm sure, because we all appreciate that. But maybe you need to change the format to suit the members of your club. Maybe you need to relax the meeting. Change the format so it's not as formal. I know that there's still an awful lot of clubs out there that have a very focused and very structured meeting. And maybe, particularly with a hybrid, something a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more friendly, inviting is the way forward. What I would try and do is, especially if you are a smaller club, and I'm speaking from experience here, is change the structure so that there aren't enough people in our club to have a committee structure or a full committee structure. So we just have one projects committee now, and everything is done through that projects committee. and we tie in the committee meetings with the council, and we have one business meeting a month. I know a lot of clubs do that, but I think that's a really good starter, that you get the business over and done with in 1 week. I also would try and get one good speaker per month to the club. At a face-to-face meeting is the best idea, but if it has to be hybrid or on Zoom, especially for the e-clubs amongst us, then that is absolutely fine. But try and get one good community-based speaker that can come to your club and make it a full room. Invite your neighbour, your friend along to that meeting, because if there is a community cause and you think it's good enough for you to listen to, there'll be other people in your community that want to come along. And you don't even need to invite the world, but just try. The other thing as well is you don't even need to invite a speaker, because Rotary Great Britain and Ireland over the last 20 months have been doing a number of online events. Most specifically is Together Talks. Together Talks is 30 episodes of thought leaders from around the world, Rotary International presidents speaking and giving a great message. There are some business talks there, there are some charity talks there, there are some leadership talks there, and they're all available to download. So you don't even need to wait to get a speaker. You could have past International President Holger Kanak in your club talking to you virtually in a recording, but it's better to be doing something than nothing. There are also some membership specific events, the membership summit, the passport events, and those that are coming to the passport launch later will hear more about that, and also one Rotary event. And latterly, there are some Rotary Foundation events which talk specifically about foundation grants and foundation topics, called In Focus. These are all available on the Rotary YouTube channel for Rotary Great Britain and Ireland. And if you're looking for a speaker, I'm doing a bit of a plug here because I'm involved in the background, but I would take a look at that. There are some great opportunities there. So we've all had successes as clubs, and I would focus on what your club does good and try and make it better. We've all done great projects and we all enjoy that project, but we can make our events and our service that little bit stronger. So pick on what your club is good at and make it great at doing that. As I touched on, I think you need to make your club committees practical, and there is no point in having 6 or 7 committees with 2 people on. I would merge some committees so that you get some internal vibrancy within your committee structures. And like I say, at Prescott, we just have one committee. Everyone is on that committee, and we bring about much bigger ideas and better ideas as a collective than we do with just 2 people on a foundation committee or an international committee. Bring it together as one. I think we need to be seen in the community. We operate in our local communities and we need to be seen. So how we're going to do that? Well, social media needs to be your friend, and you need to engage with the local chat groups and community groups that are involved in your local communities and find out what they want. Again, going back to what Eric said earlier, it's not about what projects we want to bring about, it's what projects the community want to bring about, and use Rotary as the vehicle to deliver those projects. You know, like I said, 1.2 million, 1.4 million membership organisation, the largest humanitarian organisation in the world. We have the branding, we have the connections. There are people within this organisation that can bring about those events and make those projects happen. So let the community tell you what it wants rather than us doing it the other way around. We need to talk about new members in Rotary. So it's not all about just thinking and brushing it under the carpet. We need to have that discussion. And how many times do membership committees on clubs, which are 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 members, you need to talk about it as a whole club. It's not just the membership committee's responsibility. It is all our responsibilities. And like I say, it's the engagement with the volunteers, which I believe really strongly brings about new membership. We need to sell the benefits. We've forgotten, I believe, greatly what benefits this organisation has, and how Rotary has impacted on our lives, and it could impact on new members and new volunteers' lives as well. So there's the networking and the sphere of fellowship and friendship that we've all created. Not only in our clubs, you've met people that you possibly would never have met, but within the district, within the wider Rotary Great Britain and Ireland, and if you're so inclined, the opportunity to go to Rotary Institutes and Rotary conventions all across the world and meet members. I'm relatively new to convention, only been to one, but it's just an incredible opportunity that you are in a room with 28,000 other members of an organisation with aligned interests. We as an organisation can help develop people's skills. We can work, we have a great learning and training and development team within the district and in Rotary Great Britain and Ireland, which can bring about new skills for you. There is always someone that can help you in Rotary. There are business opportunities. I am still in business, and there are people that I meet that I would not have met in business. Is it my drive that I do business through Rotary? No, but it is amazing who you meet, and it's not who you know in Rotary and who you meet in Rotary, it's who they know that might be able to help you, and that is a really powerful tool. Like I said, we are a leading humanitarian organisation, and we have the cachet and credibility to go with that, so we should be proud to be a member of Rotary, and that is also a big sell for future members to be involved in an organisation which is ending polio now, doing all the good that we do in the world. What new members want to do, they don't want to just come for a chicken dinner on a Wednesday night and have a chat. They want to do, if they're going to give up their time, they want to do something, and it is our obligation to give members something to do. And again, I'm going back to what Eric said at the beginning, allow the projects to come to us, work with our communities and find out what the community wants. How often do we go, oh, we're going to do this event again, we've done it for the last 10 years. Is there any tangible benefits? Yes, there probably is, but are we listening to the communities that we're operating within? Let the projects come to us. Sorry, just a little slip there. Action. So action's the key. We've talked about it. If we're not doing something, now I'm not saying we go and run out now and put on 100 events and they all fail, but action is the key to what we are trying to achieve. And action comes in many ways. So you could just get your social media up to date and make it look like you're alive and make it look like you're engaged and try and follow some of the local groups. But when we talk about action, really, we talk about projects. And that's what people want to be involved with. They're giving up their time. They want to do something and be involved with a project. And I'm going to just go through a few examples now. So one of the things that you could get involved with is the youth competitions. And those that came to District Assembly this year will realise that Tony Beckett, our youth services leader, has got a phenomenal grip on the youth competitions. And all you need to do is speak with Tony and sponsor a local school who could get involved with the youth competitions. It's a really easy relatively low effort event to be involved with, and you engage with a local school, youth group, high school, primary school, and get them involved with the youth competitions. It's a really good way of engaging with that school body. And when you're bringing about competitors to the youth competitions, you're also speaking with the parents that are involved and potentially getting involved with other projects within Rotary. So I think the youth competitions is a really good way of getting involved. The other thing is there are hundreds, literally hundreds of fellowships within Rotary. Why not try and join a fellowship? Now, there are fellowships from sailing to drinking gin and everything in between. I'm not saying so you can join personally yourselves, but why not join as a club and bring about another level of interest or another level of discussion to your club? Invariably, the fellowships are made up from members from all across the globe, and that interaction will bring about opportunity. So why not get involved with a fellowship and see where that leads you and bring about that extra degree of vibrancy to your club? Why not look at an international project? Now, the international team have brought about a number. They did a showcase earlier this year, and there is a number of international projects there that you could get involved with. Again, they are they expand your reach as a club, and there is a team within the district, the international team, that can assist you with your international project, and it brings about another degree, another spoke to the wheel of your operations, and maybe a bit more excitement within the organisation, within the club. Just wanted to do with Lend with Care. Now, I'm not an expert with Lend with Care, but I hear brilliant things now. I know a lot of clubs get involved with Lend with Care, and it is something that you can do at a club level with very little effort, because it's really getting involved by lending money. But it's something that you could do as a club without being, a huge amount of effort being required. And it means that you've got a good news story to talk about on social media. It means that you're engaged with another organisation that you weren't involved with, and you've got the feel-good factor of lending your collected monies to an organisation and being involved in a local and international level. So Lend with Care, I'm not an expert. There are others in the district that are, but that would be a great initiative to bring about a project within your club and make you look a little bit more vibrant. Like I say, it'd be something that you could put on social media, and then that brings about another conversation with another local community group, and it makes you look that little bit more vibrant. So the other one is to look for a community project. There are loads of organisations in our communities that are doing good for others, and we don't know about it. And wouldn't they like a helping hand from Rotary? Or are they struggling to get connected with X and Y and Z, and can we be the catalyst? Again, I'm going back to how Eric set the scene this morning. And let the projects come to us. We're not the experts, or always the experts, and let the community project come to us. At the end of the day, as I started with earlier, it's all about a state of mind, and you need to decide whether your glass is half full or half empty. And if you're looking at a half full glass, the world looks that little bit better, and we can provide service a little bit more vibrantly, a little bit more with a little bit more vigor. So I would urge you to look at your club, make a plan, and look at the projects that you bring about with a glass half full. I'm now going to hand over to Sam Addison, who's going to talk about the Toolbox.
Thank you, Phil. Can we have the next slide, please? There we are. You've had a lot thrown at you by Eric and by Phil. So you're not going to remember it all. It has been recorded, it will be available. And in addition to that, we have 4 documents. As Phil said, Vibrancy and Vibrant Clubs has been around for a while in Rotary, so you'll not be surprised that there's been some thinking on it. Now, the first document, Be a Vibrant Club, is how to actually sort of do it. It's a bit about a club in Wrexham that started up. Now, to become a vibrant club, you're talking about effectively a culture change, and culture trickles down from the top. So it's a leadership thing. So this is what leaders did when they set up a club in Wrexham, a 4th club there, to make their club vibrant. So that's the start of that one. Next slide, please. Now, it may be that when you're trying to make your club vibrant, that it doesn't necessarily sit well with your existing members. So one of the answers is that maybe you need to start a new club. Get the people who are vibrant and get them to start a club with your help. There are lots of different formats of clubs. You might have heard about a few of them one place or another. You know, whether you're talking about a project-led club that's got a particular cause, whether you're talking about a satellite club, an e-club, a passport club you'll be hearing about later. So this one, starting a Rotary club, details in great depth what you need to do, how you can do it, and we'll list a whole load of club resources which you will find on the various Rotary internet places, the websites. Can we have the next slide, please? I'm hoping this will be about satellite clubs. No, okay, we missed the satellite clubs. Yeah, if you're existing members, and I have seen a situation where a guy left Rotary because his club wanted to be more vibrant, and they changed the club dramatically to try and be a club that was attractive to the people who weren't existing members. And it upset this guy so much that it wasn't the Rotary that he wanted, that he left. So perhaps the answer is to set up a satellite group, much like Worsley has, where they can meet in a different format, do things in a different way, but not necessarily be a separate club. Now, in order to, there we are, right. In order to effect a change, and that's what we're looking at here. So we're into change management, and management is important. So we not only need to start doing it and put some energy into it, we need to manage it and measure what we are doing. So the other document, which you've just gone past on the slide, is the strategic planning guide. And this will take you through vision statements and the other bits you can do, and it will have, thank you, and it will have sort of things to follow to take you through the process of managing the change, so that hopefully it doesn't get away with you and things don't go totally haywire. Now, all 4 of these documents are going to be on this recording, and they will be attached to the YouTube that's sent out, and they will also be sent out to you all individually so that you can work your way through them. But remember, we're not in reinventing the wheel here. Rotary has been thinking about this for a few years, and these documents will help. So thank you very much. Over to you, Peter.
Presentations have given us lots to think about there, particularly from Phil, a few home truths and calls to action. We've now got the question and answer session open to everybody. Please feel free to tip in or comment on what you've heard, good, bad, your ideas. Right, so Frank Hawkswell's putting his hand up, although he's muted.
Not anymore.
Right, there you go.
Just a question. I'll perhaps talk later about legacy rather than the sort of planning approach we got at the moment. But is there a framework in which an organisation can, as a body, become a member of Rotary?
Can I answer that one then? I know of an example in Scotland. There was it's the Bass Rock Community Group, who are doing lots of work locally in that area. And they have been working alongside Rotary recently. And as a whole, the group has actually joined Rotary into the Rotary Global Hub. So they're not in a separate club, but they've all become Rotarians in the past 5 or 6 weeks. So the whole group has actually been brought into Rotary. So they've not got the members to be a club yet, but they've all joined as a group, and Rotary's been supporting the organisation, doing local work in that area for quite some time. So yes, there are ways to bring a whole organisation or a whole group of volunteers in one fell swoop. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just follow up if I could, and thanks for that. With the question of legacy, because hearing Phil talk about his relationship with Prescott, the concern I think I'd have in Rochdale as a borough of 200,000 people is what's going to be the legacy of Rotary in that 5-year timescale. And the most likely legacy at the moment is gone. It's just the sheer demographics of the 2 primary clubs in Rochdale. On the other hand, we have Haywood 2020, which has started up and taken on the new model, and I'm aware of Tameside. If I look across the organisation that we have, our own club of about 14, 16 active members now, the majority demographics there are members of other organisations, whether they're members of Freemasonry or legacy groups from Round Table, like 41 clubs, and almost all have some other interaction in the town through another organisation, whether it's Red Cross or whatever. And what I'm wondering about is where a future model of Rotary in Rochdale may be simply as a facilitating group. We have contacts where most of us able to make small donations on a regular basis, but the sheer physical possibility of doing major projects, we've just asked ourselves that question after our 50th charter, and the answer is probably not. But we're very enthusiastic. And so I think one of the things that we might look at exploring as a cluster group with our ADG is the practical realities of our physical mortality over the next 5 years, and what's going to be the legacy of the organisation that's there when we've gone. And it's a sad one, but nevertheless is probably a fairly realistic one for a number of our communities through the area.
Thanks, Frank, for that. I think we can obviously give you some support at a district level, so maybe we continue this conversation afterwards. Is there any other questions, please?
Yeah, thanks, by the way. Yeah.
We've answered all your questions this morning. There are no more.
Now we've got a raised
Andrew.
hand.
I'd just like to give a couple of examples of what you've been saying. In Oldham, we've got a the council have got community support people, and we've been linking with them in Shaw and Royton. And an example of two examples of what we're doing locally. Next Sunday, a week Sunday, there's a team there's a group have set up to reuse the old railway line that goes through Royton and to enhance how it looks and make it a better footpath and cycle path through the area. And a week Sunday, we've offered them 1,000 crocus bulbs, and we're doing a planting with that group. Excellent. And so we can sell the polio message and our club message at the same time. We're also involved, it's coming up to Christmas with the Santa, we're involved with the 2 switch-ons in Shaw and Royton. And one of the groups, the Shaw and Crompton Events Group, are actually using our sleigh one of the evenings to go around one of the areas to raise funds. and we're going 50-50 with that. So so if you have got equipment, you can by meeting groups, you can encourage them to use it, because we haven't got the man. Well, we're doing pretty well to do the normal 6, but suddenly we've got a 7th event coming up to Christmas, but somebody else is doing it. But
Excellent.
It's still our sleigh and
that's
our publicity. So that's all I wanted to just say.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you. I noticed Mr. Scullion has got his hand up.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, 2 parts. First is a comment. We've discussed clubs declining, how we're going to change things. What I found is quite remarkable. I went to, it was mentioned earlier, Tameside Club, and they informed me at this meeting that they were the largest growing club in the area, in the district. I said, oh, which surprised me, I have to say, because I think I've got one of the biggest clubs. And they've gone from 13 to 26 in less than 12 months. So they were right. I was blown away. We need to speak to these people. We need to find out what they are doing to grow their membership.
Yeah.
They're doing something different. Now, the other club, which I look after, is Stockport Lamplighters. Stockport Lamplighters now about 44 members, and they've recruited 8 members in the past 12 months. And this is during lockdown. So they have techniques, and these techniques are working. Now, I know for Lamplighters, there is one lady there who goes out and beats the drum, harangues people on the street, gets them to come along. And I know a number of clubs, including Glossop, are bringing in lots of friends of Rotary. So we've just recruited 3 friends of Rotary this last week. So we're now up to 6. Now you hope that these friends of Rotary will do the projects, which is what it's about, and then they will come up, hopefully, and be members. But even if they don't, they come to meetings, to take part, and they feel part of the organisation. So really, I think we can learn a lot from speaking to our other clubs. So my question here is, I know 2 clubs which have had very good growth. I don't know any others. From all of us here, we've got 6 membership people, we've got 4 presidents. You must know clubs in your area which have grown, I would assume, and we could do with sharing that information.
Good point raised, Paul. And yes, we've got the statistical data that we can interrogate, and we've not quite looked at that. I know that Sottington and Bury West were a big grower about 1.5 years ago with their associate membership program. And I think what you'll find is, as you alluded to, is that there is always one person that's the catalyst to growth, and it's they're the vibrant member, and they're the one that's doing it. And like I say, it's finding someone that wants to be engaged and doing it. It's all about that. If you don't do anything, then the result will be 0. You've got to do something. So it's the doer that brings about the change. But they were great points. Thank you very much, Paul.
If I could, Phil, Paul and Frank have been kind enough to mention my own club, Tameside, just to share our experience. That before my time, the original idea was to see whether the existing clubs in that area, which were all getting slow numbers, wanted to come together. Now, that's not what happened. Most of the clubs wanted to stay as they were, and indeed Stalybridge and Duckingfield and Stalybridge, they've actually had a very good recent membership increase themselves. So they've gone from someone who were in trouble there. So that's another club you can look at. But with Tameside, we were set up as an informal club. We meet monthly, a format that we find fine. Most of the original members were people who had not been Rotarians, but the old Ashton Underline Club, which had recognised it was getting stale, decided to fold, and some of the members came there. And then we then had a different age profile, a different way of meeting. But also, once we'd been going 5 years, we recognised that we still had to look at membership. And in January, just before COVID came on, we had a specific membership event to invite people who might be interested. And we had good speakers, including our dear Irene Russell there, who was very well received. So, you have to keep your foot on the grass.
Thank you for that, Peter. Really appreciate your input there. I noticed that Irene Russell has got a hand up. Irene?
Yeah, it's just a couple of points, really, and it's going back to Paul Scullion's point about what's making these clubs more vibrant than others? And I would suggest that it's those who are advertising, those who are really publicising what they're doing. So we had a little discussion in our club. I mean, we go through fits and starts in our club. We can get all active and then we're not. But we decided to put a poster together, and on the poster it was things like, you know, what's your top 6 projects? You know, we struggled with that. We struggled because we are a checkbook club, more or less, as a lot of you are. And you can't advertise that. So, I mean, we're a big beer festival club, and that's great, and it's all activity, but we give away cheques. So when it comes to advertising the projects to get people in, we kind of struggled. I mean, we've got 6, but they were fairly new things. So I would suggest that some of it is advertise what you're doing. I mean, a lot of people are out at the vaccination centres. We don't advertise that. We don't say that Rotary is involved. I think you need to get used to using your social media and really publicising what you're doing, because people will not come to a club where we still meet weekly and, you know, just give out cheques. I mean, we're even arguing over the cheques. I mean, that's not a club. That's not a doing club. So I think, on top of everything else, have a think about what your projects are. So that's just my thought for the morning.
Thank you for that, Irene. And yeah, absolutely. Social media brings a level of activity that is absolutely free of charge to your club and makes you engaged or engaging with your communities. Anything else from anyone? You're not telling me we've got...
Just parting, thanks to Irene for that phrase, which I need to use and plagiarise, a checkbook club. Thanks.
See, Peter had his hand up there.
Yes, I'm all over the community, visiting various clubs. I feel that I didn't have much of a chance last year, if you know what I mean. But the last 2 weeks were absolutely brilliant. I got to as many clubs as I could do. And now I'm getting the chance to go to various clubs because they knew that I should have been invited in the COVID year. And they're inviting me now. And I'm talking to many, many people. And last night at Andy's club, I was talking to 4 different people, and they're very interested in joining Rotary.
Excellent.
Ask them face to face. That's the key.
Thank you, Peter. Anything else, or have we answered all your vibrancy questions this morning? I'm sure we haven't. Francis?
Thank you very much, everybody. Just a comment, really. I'm quite a new member to Rotary, but I just see that it for me, it's about preserving and respecting the sort of tradition and the tradition of the club that I'm in now, and whilst going along and developing new ideas. So it's the sort of the existing tradition and the preservation of that, and the deep fellowship that I sense is already in the club. You know, I'm from Widnes Rotary, and I get a real sense of friendship and fellowship, especially now that we've started meeting, and that draws me back each week, you know, the friendship there. So and some of the members, you know, have been there a very, very long time. So it's sort of respecting that and celebrating that, but also sensitively taking it on and taking it further. And I know, I won't mention her, but I know there's a very vibrant person in Widnes Rotary, and it's like working together, even if it's just 1 or 2 very vibrant members, but you're working within a supportive group who will come with you, kind of thing. So that's just me sort of observation.
Thanks, Francis. Thanks, Francis. I think a great word there was sensitively. And we're not saying, you know, wholesale vibrancy, you know, out with the bathwater. We're saying we're all club Rotarians and we enjoy the fellowship that we have with our clubs, but we need to do it maybe slightly differently going forward. And if we can do that in a sensitive way, then that's the way forward. So thank you for that. Phil Jones has his hand up.
Hi, Phil. Yeah, 2 things from me, really. The first one, do districts have any information on corporate membership? Our club is keen to start to look on that avenue, bringing in members of businesses round. And whilst we don't want to pick up the American way of doing it, we wondered whether there was any information on corporate membership. That's the first one.
Okay.
And then the second one, again, there's a lot of talk about getting new members, and the theme that seems to be coming from district is that we should be looking for young people to join Rotary. Our view is that we should be targeting the 50 plus, because the ones who are coming up to retirement age still have a lot of time, still have the opportunity to have the finances behind them. So our view is to target the over 50s. I'd be interested to hear your views on that.
I think Eric will take that one there.
Unmute first. Phil, if someone is in their 50s in Rotary terms in their district, they are young. So when we're saying, I mean, yeah, I'm being serious, but we're saying young, we're not necessarily targeting the 25-year-olds, we're just targeting people that were the age that we were when we joined Rotary, perhaps. Because actually, I've been in Rotary now for 15 years, so I was 15 years younger when I joined. So, you know, as we age out, we can bring people in that they joined at that sort of time. So, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You can't have a huge age gap between your current membership and your new members. It doesn't work. You've got to work your way back in almost 10-year steps. So if you've got 6-year-olds in your club, it makes the 50-year-olds in and they'll feel quite comfortable. You've got 30-year-olds in, the gap's too big. So yeah, you're absolutely right. People at that age, we are still vibrant. They've still got energy, they can do things. So yeah, absolutely. When we say young, we're talking teenagers or 20. It'd be great if they want to join, but they maybe a Rotaract club perhaps, which is a different subject. So yeah, on that, absolutely fine. Good targeting. I'll let Phil talk about the corporate one.
I'll just come in because I think we want to try and bring things to a close now. But with regard to corporate membership, I'll come back to you directly, Phil, on that. The sort of test book case was Bentley Cheshire in Crewe. There are some documentation associated with that, so I'll come back to you directly.
That's great. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. Hope you've all found it informative, got you some ideas. Go out there and grow Rotary. Thank you, everyone.